council members. I'm here again about complaints about construction work going on. I was driving by my street, and even the two city public works inspectors were.
Mrs. Kilgore, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. The way that tonight's meeting works is there is only comment on things that are on the agenda. So
Did it say that on the meeting?
it does. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear enough. So if you have general comments, you can call us at City Hall anytime or next Tuesday.
Thank you. Thank you. Next one.
Our next speaker card is from Andrew.
Hello to City Council. Happy New Year. My comment I wanted to direct to our city manager. Mark, so I noticed in the staff report that everyone who applied, their addresses were redacted, except for the zip code. But what I did notice, there was a zoning map that was put on there with kind of targeting where the people lived. And I kind of felt that that was kind of, I don't know, worrisome about it, because there's been a lot of attacks in the news lately of government workers, city, commissioners, council members and stuff. So I was just thinking that maybe something like that, it's fine that they have their zip code. We know 7675 are in our city, right? And so I was just kind of a little bit leery about seeing that in there. I just kind of thought that maybe that didn't need to be in the staff report. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, it's my understanding that the HERE Commission has requested to have a youth advisory position. And I guess it was requested a while ago, over a year ago. I guess it's kind of stuck in the legal aspects. I think the city attorney has to approve it some way. I think it's my understanding. So I just want to advocate for that position. I think that our school districts here are putting out some very intelligent young people, and it would be so nice to see them part of our commissions, especially the HERE Commission. I think that their voices are very important to us, so that we could develop our leaders. So that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just to respond to Andrew's first comment, I appreciate that concern very much. That is with, just even the general public, but absolutely with government officials and people targeting them. So I appreciate your concern there. We do not put the addresses in the packets for that reason. With government work, if somebody wanted to come and find that out, they could because of public records, but we try to make that not quite so public. But those maps, and I appreciate you pointing that out, we don't put the arrow exactly where somebody lives, so it's in the general street, but not on the exact address. And the reason we put those maps is so I think one of the things that the council takes into account when they appoint commissioners is making sure that we have folks from all over the community, not just one neighborhood in the north or in the south or in the east or the west, trying to make sure we have commissioners that are renters and homeowners so that we can have as whenever possible, as much of a representation. So that's why the maps are there to, for information for the council and the public, but we do try to keep that exact information about which parcel or which home that somebody lives in for your exact concern. So I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Vice Mayor.
I would actually suggest that rather than even pointing at a property on the map, just have a circle around the general and point out the circle. That way it's even more broad.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Just roughly, right? Not exactly, right? Yeah, okay. All right. So, any public comments?
There are no other comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Our next item is appointment to the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito Abatement and Vector Control District Board of Trustees. The city is responsible for appointing a representative from the city to serve on the Board of Trustees. The member appointed may serve a 2-year or a 4-year term at the discretion of the City Council. The term will begin January 1st and end December 31st. The person appointed may be someone other than a council member so long as the individual is a resident of the city of San Gabriel. Our current representative is Councilwoman Menchaca. We have received a request from Councilwoman Menchaca requesting for your consideration to be reappointed to the board for another 2-year term. The board meets the second Friday of every month at 7 a.m. at its district office in West Covina. Meetings are open to the public.
Does any council member have the factual question for the staff to clarify the report? I hear none. Assistant City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We have not received any speaker cards for this item.
Okay. It's now time to council deliberation and a discussion. Who would like to start it?
Well, I guess I'll start just by saying I'm glad Marilyn made it clear, because in the staff report said 2 or 4. I'm just seeking for a 2-year term, and at that time, if anyone else would like to have it, more than welcome. It is a little challenging because it is at 7 a.m. It's been like that since the day it started, and the rationale is to make sure that it doesn't compete with other organizations like the COG or any other groups that council is asked to be part of. And I'd like to continue. And that was all.
If no one else has comment, I'll motion to appoint Denise Menchaca, Councilmember Menchaca, to the Mosquito Vector Board.
I second.
Okay, all right. The motion has been made by Vice Mayor Harrington, second by Councilmember Wu. Please vote. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next item, please.
Our next item is interviews and appointments to the Community Services Commission and the Planning Commission and Human Equity Access and Relations, also known as the HERE Commission. Applicants will be interviewed to fill 1 vacancy on the Community Services Commission and the Planning Commission, and 3 expiring seats on the HERE Commission. A letter was received and included in your packet from Stephanie Spicola, candidate for the Community Services Commission, who is not able to attend tonight's interview due to a conflict in her schedule, but requests to still be considered for the vacancy. We also received a request from Jacqueline Borja, applicant for the HERE Commission, to withdraw her application from consideration. Mayor and council members, you will have 15 minutes to interview each candidate. The timer will be set. When the orange light lights up, it will indicate when the applicant has 5 minutes remaining. At the conclusion of the interviews for each commission, we are requesting to conduct a tally followed by a vote to appoint the applicant to the seats that are available. If council agrees, we will begin with the applicants from the Planning Commission.
Okay, so we sequence it from Planning Commission first, right? Okay. So,
Our first interview is with Isela Bowles, applicant for the Planning Commission.
Hi, Mr. Ball. Thank you for your willingness to serve our community to apply the planning commissioner. So, okay, all right. So, any council members start a question?
Okay, I guess I'll start.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Bowles, have you attended a planning commission meeting recently, maybe in the last year or so, or have you viewed it on the YouTube channel? I'm sorry, she can't hear. Is it her mic?
There, okay. Maybe it was soft. There.
Please continue.
Okay. For the last 20 years, I have attended many of the meetings, including being part of a lot of the projects that have come forward to the Planning Commission. So I personally know a lot of the commissioners through the years. Mr. Kevin Sawkins, which was a huge supporter of me during my candidacy. Youngblood, Bill Youngblood. I know Tom, I know Matt. So I do know a lot of the commissioners personally and have attended a lot of the meetings, have been involved in many of the projects.
So my follow-up is, since you are familiar with the commission, how do you envision your role if you were selected to be a planning commissioner?
Well, I think that it is important to understand that the commission is a very important role. You become part of a group that you need to work together with, someone that you need to be able to communicate and see not only the vision that you're seeing, but perhaps also being able to see what the other members are seeing. I think it's a collaboration of 5 people, and I have done that. I have tried, even though I have never been a planning commissioner member, I have always been on the outside, trying to communicate, trying to go through the process, trying to see perhaps a different view that other people did not.
Thank you.
Sure.
Who's next? Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Ms. Bo.
Hello.
Yes, according to your information here, it shows that you are currently actually your neighborhood watch block captain. Are you still the captain?
Yes.
So from your perspective, what is the greatest planning issues and neighborhood issues right now in our city?
Well, there's been a lot in the last few years. I'll just mention some of them. So coyotes, as you already know, that's one. Safety, really high top priority on that one. And recently we had a project, which is a property that was sold right on our block. And we worked very hard with the city, with the developer, with the owners. Mark was very well involved with that. And if you go by that 1065 project, I think you're gonna find that in a collaboration with, personally myself, we were able to come up with a beautiful project. At the beginning, if you would see what was proposed at the very beginning versus what we ended up with, I think you would be very proud, and a lot of the neighbors really appreciated my involvement with that project, just because the very first proposal was really not coinciding with what the vision of the city and the residents, which was the most important thing, what the residents wanted to see as a project that was right so close in their block. So that has been my role.
So if developer comes in and present a low-quality plan, but that is nothing wrong with the code, what would you do?
That's a great question. Well, I can tell you what I've done, because I've done that already. There was a project right on Commercial that I can remember with. It was a proposal with a child, it was gonna be like a child's garden kind of project. Everything was okay, except that we were gonna have kids that were gonna be exposed to a lot of pollutants because it was right in a industrial part of the city. Again, I worked very close with the city. Mark Gallatin at the time, Mark Gallatin is one of my heroes. He was a planning, director at the time. And so we worked very close together to work with the applicant to find her a different spot. It just didn't make sense to have the pollution of the train passing by, a body shop on one side, a meat processing on the other side. Sammy Malou was on the opposite side with cars, pollution. It just didn't make sense. And we were able to find her a good location in the city. So that's what I would do. I actually try to work with advantages, disadvantages, but there's always a solution. And so that's always been my proposal. There's always a solution that we can find some kind of medium between what would be good for everybody involved.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Isela, for stepping up and volunteering.
Thank you.
So what do you see, I know you've been involved a long time with the city and with this commission. What do you see as the long-term role of the planning commission? Like like their vision? What do you see for that?
Well, I can tell you that the reason I want to be part of the Planning Commission is because I see a great opportunity to bring a great economic development. A Planning Commission can either make or break a city. If all the developments come to them, a lot of special permits come their way, and I think if you have someone that can have the vision to see further than just one development, it's really a city that you're trying to put together. It's not just a residential or a home or an apartment building that you want to put in one place. It is a cohesive development for an entire city. Our residents have made it very, very clear during my candidacy for running for city council. They have made it very clear as to what their vision, what their wants, what their needs are. So this is a great opportunity to bring income to our city, but in a very responsible and sensitive way to the residents. The residents need services, but nevertheless, we cannot possibly impact them in a negative way either. So I think there is a way of doing that, and that's where I come in. I believe that I can do that I have not just the abilities, but the experience and the understanding of all of, for example, ordinances, a lot of the laws, not just locally, but at the state level. And just like anything else, I know, for example, Councilmember John Woo would probably love to hear this because He is in the real estate business, and I understand that. So the more inventory that we have, like for example, when you go sell a house, you want to be able to sell something beautiful. So the architecture, I think, is important. And that would be something that I have a vision for things. For example, when I did my own project with my own house, there was a vision, and that I went over to with the architect, and he was able to put it together in paper. But it was initially a vision that I had, and I have had a lot of compliments from a lot of people telling me that my project was beautiful. And so I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Chen.
Hi, Mrs. Bowles. Thanks for applying. You have a very impressive resume.
Thank you.
And a history of being involved in the city. I was going to ask you, in terms of being on the Planning Commission, what do you see as the greatest planning challenge, something difficult in the city that you'd like to take on?
Ooh, where to start?
Yeah, all right. Well, pick your favorite.
Biggest challenges, I think, is land. City of San Gabriel is a very small city, and we have a very limited amount of space for projects, developments that perhaps some of us would want to see. Parking, for example, the Mission District. And one of the things that I did like to see recently was when Atunos, come to find out, is going to open again, and the city was actually able to be a little more lenient with the parking restrictions. Back, I can tell you that I was involved a few years ago with an applicant that wanted to open a catering business at the time, and it was at the tea bar that we have. And unfortunately, there were so many blocks, she actually leased the building for an entire year. I helped her personally with the parking, to secure parking with the church, something that had never been done, something that nobody had ever even thought of. And I was able to secure with the Archdiocese parking for her project. Again, but after a year of going back and forth with the city and trying to work something out, she ran out of money. And that was very unfortunate, because it would have been a great project. She put her heart and soul and all of her life savings into this project, and to not be able to bring that to fruition, that was very, very sad. Again, I am willing to work with developers, with people that want to come into the city. I think there's always a way to do it, and hopefully I can help to streamline that process with the experience that I have had with other projects and all my 35 years of being here in the city.
Very nice, thank you. That's all I have. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Chen. Okay, my question is, you know, do you know how many projects we have developed right now? And that's the first question. The second question, it's, is there anything you need to think about it because their projects already approved? For the future, what's your consideration?
So for the future is I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, the future, if any planning, did you agree to continue the same pattern to do that, or your different idea?
Okay, so I think I kind of used my answer earlier for your question. So your question is, what would I do in the future of the Planning Commission, right, correct? Is that, was that kind of the question?
My question is based on a current project. Did you like this kind of project, or the direction, or you don't like it, or you wanted some improvement too?
Well, let me just tell you, there was one that I was personally, again, connected with the Sheraton as well as the Hilton. I think the Sheraton and the Hilton have brought a lot of tax revenue to the city. They're bringing in millions of dollars, and I was very happy to be part of that, to facilitate, to be part of what kind of motifs, what kind of moldings, what kind of setbacks that we're gonna have. So it was a very exciting process to go through on a huge project such as the 2 hotels. They do bring a lot, again, it's trying to have a medium between big developments such as those and that not being so impacting to our residents. Again, is the residents that, in my opinion, have to be taken into consideration. They are the ones that live here. They are the ones who come home every night. Businesses, obviously, I am a huge supporter as well, but I think we can find that medium. We can find that cohesiveness and also inclusion, and that's why inclusion to me is so important, because we need to include everybody involved. When we think about how it's impacting everyone, then we can have a better vision of what needs to be done and what would be right to do. When we lose sight of that because we just want to get something done, then that brings a whole lot of other impacts that perhaps we have problems later on. So for me, it's trying to find that medium that makes sense for the residents, makes sense with thriving businesses, because we need businesses to thrive.
Thank you. Just right on time, 15 minutes. Okay, thank you. And because the time is already off. Okay.
I ran out of my 15
Okay.
minutes. Again, thank you for your consideration, and I assure you that you would be very happy if you were to vote for me. I will go out of my way to make sure that I make you proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one.
Our next applicant is Andrew Britton for the Planning Commission.
Mr. Brendan, thank you for your willingness to serve our community. And so next, my council member will be asking the question, who would like it first? Councilmember Wu?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Hi, Mr. Breeden. Thank you so much for applying for this position. According to your resume, it shows that you call yourself as a parking person because you work for a parking company nationwide. So from your professionalism, what do you see the current problem, the parking problems in our city, and how do you think that you can improve the parking issues, if we have any? Thank you.
Well, thank you, council member. That's a great question, and that's diving in pretty quickly there to the root of some issues. So I want to be respectful. I think there's a great deal I don't know about the city and its history. But I've been living here for 4 years. I come to the Mission District quite frequently. And I've read some parts of the Mission District specific plan that you guys have put in place. So. I would say with regard to that particular plan, I think generally speaking, if you follow parking at all or urban planning, you're seeing a lot of revisions and rollovers of removing parking minimums really all over kind of the West Coast. People are moving away and really it looks like, maybe might be the case here, a little bit too much space is being taken up by parking on the street and in these open surface area lots. And so I would say, generally speaking, I am in favor of taking away reasonable amounts, taking a data-driven approach to removing reasonable amounts of street-based parking and removing some of the space in the open lots by taking differing approaches like building a structure there, to open up that space for commercial activity. And also for enjoyment, and you have such a beautiful canvas to work with here, at the Mission, the historic nature of the district, all of the, it's just a fantastic, it's a fantastic canvas to work with here. And I think if you take out some of the parking, open that up to commercial activity, and then put in place reasonable wayfinding and space limits, I think you could really do a lot of good in this district.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wu. I think the next one is Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Andrew, for volunteering. We always appreciate people willing to step up. So I'd like to know, for your role on the Planning Commission, what do you see as the vision overall of the commission? I mean, what do you think the commission should be looking for projects like going forward in the future?
You mean as far as improving the Mission District, or?
Well, just citywide. I mean, like, I know the Planning Commission is probably one of the most important commissions we have because it affects everything else.
Right.
So, like, they really take, I wouldn't say the burden, but they actually have the duties of the city council. So you're making decisions for the future of the direction of our city. So kind of what's the vision for that as far as your experience with San Gabriel?
Well, so I mean, I have my experience in San Gabriel, and then I have what I know, which is essentially parking, right? I'm kind of a specialist. I'm not an urban planner. I don't have, a degree in these kind of things, but I've spent a lot of time running around parking lots all over Los Angeles, some of the higher end ones, and a big part of kind of what I would do when I was an operator was really looking at where these garages and these lots interface with the community, and how do we make basically it easy for the community, the good things in the community to kind of come in, and the people to kind of go out and enjoy the community. And so I've done that in a lot of different instances. And so I would say, yeah, I think the biggest project that I see when I look at it from my perspective has to do with the revitalization of, the Old Town District. I think there are other things too. I mean, right now, I think the overnight parking situation in San Gabriel is not being enforced, or not really sure, what the overnight, I know there was at one point like an overnight charging, that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. So I think there's significant room for improvement on that. I think that's what I know at this point. I think this is looking at the term limit, it's 5 months basically till May. So, I think I would use that time to kind of inform myself a little bit better about how things work. And, then I would probably have more to put forth and more to offer.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And Councilmember Chen.
Thank you, Mr. Britton. Thanks for coming. Kind of a little more specific in terms of, because parking is your forte, where would you like to see parking? And you mentioned lots a little bit ago, and do you see that as feasible in our city? And because you've seen them all over, so kind of I assume you have certain ideas on where they should be versus where there's not enough parking now. And can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely, Councilmember. Great question. So, I mean, I think that generally speaking, you want to remove, I think Alhambra has done some interesting things recently. If we're looking for like a local example of kind of some of the the changes they made. They were a city that was at the point where paid parking was starting to become a thing. You were starting to have private operators happen. And then they built that garage, or they built a couple garages, right, which they offer, you know, free, I think it's 2-hour parking, or I think it's free maybe the whole time. You know, and it basically kind of revitalized that whole district. You know, I think you have an opportunity here that you don't have there because you have all this historical stuff. And I think the outline of the streets and the amount of street parking that you have on street parking, it suits itself to being like repurposed into beautiful, livable space, you know, extending out the retail stuffs into the patio, you know, the retail shops you've got just down there, which are like really good, like 4.5-star, you know, restaurants you guys have. But they don't have any space because there's these streets running through. So as far as where you put the specific parking, it's a complicated question. I mean, it's hard for me to be like right here with what I know now. But what I generally would say is, you know, you want some parking that's premium. It's generally going to be paid parking that like somebody is going to economically invest in, right, and come along and develop for that purpose. And then you want, you know, outlying parking that, you know, is in a less premium area, is a little bit more of a walk, but is either low cost or free, depending on the goals of the district. Does that
Yeah,
answer your
yeah,
question?
that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Chen and Councilwoman Menchaca.
Thank you. It's working. Okay, great. My first question is, have you attended a planning commission meeting or have you watched it on our YouTube channel?
So I have not. I have looked at the mission-specific district plan, and I've looked at, you know, the most recent notes from probably the last 5 planning commissions, the agenda notes. So a couple of them had been canceled, but there was some stuff in there. So I took a look at the notes.
Okay. So based on those views that you've had, where do you see yourself? Because beyond the Mission District, you know, we have a whole nother area that you would have to address. Are any particular projects outside of the Mission District are you excited about, or something that kind of prompts you to apply?
Well, I mean, I think the overnight parking is something that I noticed a while back. And so, you know, that's sort of an area of professional interest of mine, and so I think that definitely did. But, I mean, I really just got an email, and, you know, I started this consulting business a couple years ago. You know, I used to be a parking operator. I had a big company with like 1,200 employees. I was always around a lot of people, and so the last 2 years, I've been around a lot less people. You know, I have a couple employees, but not nearly as many people. And so I've honestly, I think, just kind of been missing a little bit of contact with people professionally, and just decided when I got the email that I would check into being of service in my community, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you to apply the commissioner. And my question maybe just wonder, like you already answered like the vision for the planning commission, but I just will use our current example. So how do you know how many projects we're going on? It's pre-approved. That's our whole entire city. That's the first question. Second question, did you is it like this kind of direction, or you agree, or you have a different opinion? Yeah, that's my question.
The first question, could you repeat?
Do you know that we have a lot of project ongoing to build it? So do you know how many, or just roughly, okay? Or so based on this kind of project, so what kind of project you like it or you don't like it? Yeah.
As far as like the mission district specific plan?
No, not just mission district. It's included mission district in the entire city too. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so I'm not, there's a lot that I don't know. I've learned a long time ago, you know, to just kind of acknowledge that. I think my knowledge generally of all of the projects going on in San Gabriel is probably very low percentage-wise. But, you know, I think I'm pretty good at picking up data quickly. If you look at kind of what's outlined on my resume, you know, took over a lot. Basically, what I do is I absorb data, I design systems, and then I kind of scale them. And that's what I did with my parking company. And so, you know, I approach everything with a certain degree of professional pride. And so I guess what I could say of not knowing as much about all the specific projects that we have, you know, I would be willing to dedicate myself to understand the nuances of all the different ones.
Thank you. Any question? If no any question, you still have time. Do you want to have the conclude your why you want to apply and how encourage us to vote for you?
Well, listen, I mean, you know, I just took a chance. You know, if it's no big deal. I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I'd love to serve my community. You know, if this isn't the right role for me, if something else, you know, you guys have my information, and so you can call me on that. And I just appreciate the council's time and the mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next interview is with Fang Li, applicant for the Planning Commission.
Hi, Mr. Lee. Okay, thank you to willing to serve our community. And right now it's a council member question. I think the first one is Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Hello. Nice to see you. We really appreciate it when people step up and volunteer. It's what keeps our city running. So thank you.
I'm glad that there's a lot of applicants for the position, so that's a good thing for the city.
Yep. Thank you. So as far as the Planning Commission itself, you know, it really is an important commission to the city. What do you see as kind of the vision going forward, you know, for the city itself, for long-range planning? Like what types of projects should the city be trying to, you know, encourage and secure?
To be honest, I'm not too familiar with the long visions or short-term visions of the city, but
Well, how about for you? Like, if
from
you're on,
the,
as a commissioner, like, what would you like to see?
yes,
Like,
yes,
for us to
I'm getting
encourage?
there.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
You'd have to know everyone else.
As a resident, right, as a long-term resident of San Gabriel, what I would like to see is the preserving the culture of the San Gabriel small city, you know, like trying to avoid competing with other similar cities to get businesses, but preserving what the small city culture is, preserving different cultures, like fairness and then fair equities for the residents. So that is what I see.
Thank you.
And thank you, Vice Mayor. And the next one, it's Councilmember Chen.
Hello, Mr. Lee. Thank you for coming. I would like to ask you as what you see as the greatest planning challenge in our city. What do you think, you know, that our city could do better in, and how would you kind of help that?
The greatest challenge is to have a balance, right? So whatever, like the physical balance and the preserving what we have as a city. So I think that is the greatest challenge for any small cities. So in order to, like, from my humble opinion, to recommend that is, like, to find a balance between the money coming in, preserving what we have, for the, whatever we can do for the safety, and then the impact, less impact to the environment for the city. So to find a way to have a balance, that is the biggest challenge, what I see.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chen. And the next one is Councilmember Menchaca.
Hello.
Hello,
Thank you for coming in.
thank you.
I wanted to ask you, first of all, have you attended a commission meeting, planning commission meeting, or have you viewed it on YouTube?
I have viewed it at few city council meetings. I have viewed only once of the planning commissions, but I have viewed multiple times for the design review meetings.
Okay. So based on your background, how do you envision your role on the planning commission? What can you bring to the commission based on your background?
A little background about myself. I am a public workers, right? So I work for the city of Los Angeles as a project manager, overseeing some like multi-million dollars projects, improving the public right-of-ways. So that is what I do. So based on my knowledge and technical expertise, I can recommend to the city councils, like from the technical backgrounds, living in the experience as a resident, and thinking about the futures and the environmental impacts. So those are the things that I'm bringing it to the table to give the city council the recommendations.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me just follow up. So you work for the city of LA, but we're much smaller. So you talk a lot about preservation and environment, and so those, you can, I guess you could still opine, if you were on the commission, how we can do better as a small city, not a big city.
Even though this, the sizes is different, right? But the laws also applies to any jurisdictions, right? So even though it is a city of Los Angeles, biggest cities, ADAs or any like a CEQA, anything applies to bigger, smaller, doesn't matter, right? And then the health and the fairness, the impact on the traffic, it all the same. So whatever I bring in it to the table, I believe that it would be useful. It would be useful for the city of San Gabriel.
Thank you.
Sure.
Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Hi, Mr. Lee.
Hello.
Thank you so much for applying for the position. And you know that the commissioner for planning, that is reviews the development and beautification of the cities, especially to the private buildings, streets, and everything. And I do notice that you are the project manager, of course, for the city of Los Angeles, and you are handling a lot of things, including the sidewalk improvement, curb ramp, or even the tree planting and landscaping. From your point of view, as a long-term resident, that how you comment our current projects, and I agree with your point about the balance of the city. So if there's any defect or anything that should be improved, that can make the city better, what is that? Can you just describe that?
Yes, I think we can improve on a couple things in the city of San Gabriel. First of all, to have an impact on the environment, we can plant quite a few more trees, right? So, but to do that, like based on my experience, right, as a project manager, you need to find a partnership, right? We cannot just go out there and plant trees without having a maintenance plan. A maintenance plan is very important for a project manager to think about for the long term, right? So you can just plant and forget about it, the tree died the next day, right? And also, as my general manager says, you can go ahead and then work on the sidewalk improvements or any public infrastructure improvements without having the maintenance plan is a nightmare. You need to have a maintenance plan, right? As I'm saying is, like, we can have an impact on the environment in city of San Gabriel. We can have a infrastructure improvements. We can think about equities for everybody in the city of San Gabriel by improving on the sidewalk, like thinking about long-term goals on developments. When they develop, we think about things, like understanding everybody living in the city of San Gabriel, right? To be inclusive. So those are the things that I see we can improve on in the city of San Gabriel.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So if developer, they come with and present you as not a satisfactory level, quality plan, then you think that will be not feasible for this location, but everything just meets the code. So what would you do? And maybe you can share your experience when you serve as a project manager in the city of Los Angeles.
Can you repeat the scenario?
Yes. I mean, if a developer present you that is a plan, this is not even meet your expectation, or we say the maybe low quality plan. But this is maybe not a right place, right project for this location, maybe not feasible. So if that meets all the codes, there's nothing wrong with the code. And what would you do? And can you share your experience while you're serving as a project manager in the city of Los Angeles?
Sure. So it doesn't meet the expectation means that you know what the resident needs, or you know what the community wants, you know what the people in the communities are asking for, right? So that is you know the expectations, right? But the thing is, but from the technical perspective, it is meeting all the codes, right? What we can do is you can ask the city staff recommendation first, right? And then making sure that they have reviewed everything that they need, right? To making sure that all the codes are met. And later on, and then since you know the expectations, what we can do is we can have a sit-down conversations, right? So community matters. But people who live there have to, because this is their backyard, right? So it has to live by whatever the developments, right? So let's say we have a chemical plants that gonna build or get a permits in my neighborhood. I wouldn't want that, even though it meets all the codes, right? So what we can do is have a conversations and explain it to them, and this is what community is expecting, right? As a planning commissioner, this is just a recommendation that we can provide it, right? So that's that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is just continue. The first question, do you know how many projects in our city right now doing?
How many projects in the city? I do not know.
Roughly, okay. I don't need your accurate amount, but roughly.
Oh, roughly?
Yeah.
I drive by in the city, and I usually be very observant of what's going on in the city, right? So I've seen a few projects going on Valley. I've seen a few projects going on San Gabriel Boulevard. I've seen some small projects going on the northern part of San Gabriel, and I see some developments going in the south of the valley.
Okay, thank you. The second question is if you see that this kind of development, so do you agree that this kind of direction to continue that, or you have a different opinion and maybe some is good, some is disadvantages? You think about it. Do you have any idea?
I say a long-term San Gabriel, I would like to scale back on a big development, such as on Valley, such as on San Gabriel. You might disagree with me, but that is what I'm coming from as a long-term San Gabriel resident, right? So like I said before, we need to have a balance. I understand totally that we have to look at the physical health as a city, right, to balance the budgets. But as a city residents, and for the city of San Gabriel, we need to find a balance. Whatever the money coming in, and whatever we are preserving has to be matched and balanced.
Thank you, the very honesty, your opinion.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. You still have 2 minutes to conclusion, why you wanted this position and why people, like 5 council members, want to vote for you.
So the reason that I apply is I want to be part of, I want to contribute to the city that I live in and that I love, right? So I always teach my kids that, hey, you need to get involved, right? If you don't get involved, you don't know, your voice is not gonna hurt, right? And that's one thing. The other thing is that, like you need, the city council need to hear an honest and expert opinions on things to make a sound judgments. So that is why I'm here, to provide you with that honest and then, technical background recommendations for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. This is it?
Yeah. Maybe you still have 50 minutes if you want to say something.
Thank you.
50 seconds, not minutes. Okay.
The next interview is with Jeffrey Santer for the Planning Commission.
Hi, Mr. Center. Thank you for your willingness to serve our community.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next will be council member asking a question, and next one it's council member Chen.
Thanks for coming in. I want to know, what do you see as the biggest challenge for in our city in terms of planning, and what would you like to be able to contribute in terms of what you would like to see happen?
So there are a few things that I think, I don't know if it's the biggest challenge, but things that I think that would improve the city that are planning related. Sure. A major one is that I think our city would be much better if it was safer to walk and to not be driving, to get around the city without driving. So encouraging people to not drive, which would also help traffic. So I think the major ways to do that are bike lanes, better public transit. For example, I know we probably can't affect Metro's public transit, but Alhambra has their own public transit system, a small one. I don't believe we do. And in general, as the city becomes denser, people can walk to places they need to go because there's a corner grocery store. Where I live, I can walk to the Mission, but I can't walk to get groceries. So densifying the city, more mixed-use buildings would improve the walkability, sense of community, safety. So that's my main goal, why I applied for this commission, is I wanted to make those kinds of changes happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next one, it's Councilmember Menchaca.
Hello. Thank you for being here. Have you attended a planning commission meeting, or have you viewed it on our YouTube channel?
I have not. I looked through recent meeting minutes in preparation for this, but I haven't been to the planning meetings. I didn't know that they were on YouTube. Now I do. I was talking to people. in the other
Actually,
room.
all meetings now.
Yeah. I heard
Even
that
this
they
one.
did. Yeah, I should have told people to watch.
Yeah, okay. So was there something in particular, like a current project that caught your eye that you thought, this is something I can really be part of and kind of prompt you to become a planning commission, or apply to be a planning commissioner?
I'm not in particular. I've been watching the projects on Valley and Del Mar because I pass by there a lot, and it's very interesting to see that progress. And I've noticed, the power lines getting rerouted and the sewer getting rerouted and all of that, and the new apartment complex going up. I saw I think it's on San Gabriel Boulevard next to the nursery. There's a project there that looks like it's going to be great from what I've seen. And I went to their website a long time ago and saw their plans, and that looked great. There was a recent survey about bike lanes and where those are going to be created, and there's like a Safe Walk to School initiative, and I want to be involved in that. I did all their surveys and everything, but I would like to make more of an impact than just filling out a survey. So, yeah, I guess those projects.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. And the next one, it's Councilmember Wu.
So maybe I should call you Professor.
Sure.
Yeah, Professor Sentner, because you are the third applicants that coming from the same school, California State University,
Really?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, but you're a professor, associate professor.
Oh, okay.
So thank you so much for applying for the planning commissioner. You mentioned that you are not trained in infrastructure or city planning, but you are very familiar with your mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Engineering. So if you want to contribute the city or, to improve the city with your professionalism, how you want to do it?
Well, so I know a lot about, for example, energy efficiency, fluid mechanics, which is all about how liquids flow, sewers, water, that kind of thing. Maybe a civil engineering would be more well-suited. I'm mechanical engineering, but this college I went to happened to be very broad, so I took some of those kinds of classes, but that was a long time ago. But for professionalism, as part of being a professor means I had a PhD, which means I did a lot of research. I did a postdoc, I did research there, I currently do research. So I'm trained in doing research. So in things that I don't know as well, I know how to find information, learn the policies, learn how things work. When I'm interested in something, I think I can find the right answers. That's always the goal, is finding accurate sources of information and knowing how to apply those pieces of information. But, yeah.
So if there is a developer that comes in and present a low quality plan, but you think that needs more work, and this is not really compatible to that location, or maybe because you're like a mechanic, engineering professions, then you think this is not a good project, but everything just meets the code. So what would you do?
So everything meets the code, but I have other reasons to think it's wrong, or it's bad. Well, I would have to, if I'm on this commission, first I'd have to learn the rules of the commission more detailed and learn if I'm just supposed to follow exactly the letter of the law. And if that's true, then I guess I would just approve it, but give suggestions to improve their project. If I don't need to follow exactly the letter of the law, I would tell them, if I don't need to follow exactly code, I would tell them what I think. I would tell them, come back with these changes that would improve your project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jeffrey, for stepping up and volunteering. We always appreciate that. It really makes our city a better place when people volunteer, so thank you. So I was actually looking through your resume, and I wanted 1-minute description of flame behavior. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously. The Planning Commission is one of our more, I would say, impactful commissions because it really does affect the quality of life, and it affects everybody eventually in the city in some way. So what do you see as your vision if you're on the commission? Like, what types of projects would you like to see the city to attract, and the types we really want to encourage to happen?
And like I said before, I really would like to see more mixed-use development, and one of the reasons I chose to move here, I probably haven't lived here as long as many of the people applying for this. I've lived here for about 5 years. And one of the reasons I chose the specific location in San Gabriel where I live is I can walk to the Mission. I can come to all these great events we have. So I would like to see more mixed-use development where someone can walk from their house to the grocery store, to their job, to the bus to go downtown, and it just makes it, I think it makes a better community. You know, if you can go to Blossom and meet your friends and have a meal and then go shopping, you know, there's like that little art gallery upstairs. So yeah. More denser, denser development with more apartment buildings, small apartment buildings that still have a nice character. But yeah, apartment buildings with businesses on the first floor. That's what I love.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're living here 5 years. I think, I think that we have a lot of change. So I just want to asking the question. It's do you know how many the ongoing project our city have?
How many ongoing?
Yeah, you already mentioned some already, but try to your best.
Probably you mean ongoing like building projects?
Yeah.
Those are the ones I mentioned are the only ones I can think of. The couple that are on Valley and Del Mar, that intersection, San Gabriel Boulevard. I can't really think of any others that I know of.
So based on this new development, do you think that you want to going for this right direction, or you think something wrong, you want some improvement, or you have your own consideration?
I think those developments are good. I think they're the right direction. I don't know like the real details of them, and there's probably small, minor details that I would have opinions on. Like, for example, I think there's a lot of, like I mentioned, densification. An issue with that is parking. So a lot of areas, for example, this Mission area has a gigantic parking lot next to the Playhouse that's often unused. So I think if those new projects have a lot of parking, I would prefer them to have less parking so that they can be closer to each other, so people don't have to cross a huge parking lot to get where they're going. But I don't know the details of those projects to know if that's a problem with those.
Okay, thank you. But I just based on your mention, you say that this walking distance go to the Mission or go to the market. Yeah. Actually, one thing is I want to remind that our community service already did a Right SG. That's for all the residents that have chance like similar like Uber and Lyft. I hope you can take a look at this kind of plan that we just approved last year. So hopefully it can help your thought too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even compared with neighborhood cities, we don't have it, but we plan to do that. Yeah. Okay. And you still have time, so I give to you try conclusion why you want to apply and how do you encourage all the council member based on the rest of the candidate will be voted for you.
All right, thank you. I think I said pretty much everything I wanted to say. And I said my main goals. I think like I mentioned, research I think is a benefit of me maybe over some other people, but maybe not. And I did look at the commissioners, and I see most of them are like in the real estate business or contracting, construction, that kind of thing. So I am different than that, so maybe I would give a different point of view. Maybe I'd be less experienced though, and that's for you to decide, right? I don't think I have anything else to add. Oh, actually, I do have one other thing I just mentioned. Yeah, so I was talking about, walkability, transit, that kind of stuff. Another big reason for that is I have a toddler, and one day I want her to walk to school. I don't want I don't have to drop her off. And there's a lot of people who can't drive for whatever reason, whether younger or disabled or many reasons. So I think making our city more attractive to those people and safer for those people is just a benefit for everyone.
Thank you. Because of your background, your education, but I also want to ask him one more question. Are there, hopefully you got this position. If not, do you interested in another commissioner? You interested in that?
The HERE Commission, and there's the Public Works Commission. Is that what it's called?
We have a lot of we have a community service, HERE Commission, and we have the Civil Commission, and historical, right? Design review. Yeah, we have like 6 commission.
Maybe. I mean, I'll keep an eye out. And
Okay.
those don't have vacancies, so I didn't know about that. I didn't look into that.
Okay, all right. Great
Yeah.
to hear about it. So that's
Yeah, I'm on all the email lists, so I get this stuff. So I'll hear about it.
Thank you. Interesting to serve the community. Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Mayor, that's all the applicants that we have for the Planning Commission.
Okay, so it's now time for the council deliberation discussion on appointed to the planning commission, and their term will be this time because the special interview because the expiration on the May 31st, 2023, just only like next 4 months. Okay. So we only today just only select one, appoint the commissioner, and okay. So I think Mark have some suggestion too. So yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If council, if somebody has somebody that they wanted to nominate and make a motion, then the council could go that route, or similar to the other commission interviews that we've done in the past. We've prepared a sheet for each of you, and if you'd like, you can use that to each one of you select your one candidate. We can hand those to Marilyn, and then she can populate the spreadsheet that the public can see and that you all can see. And if we come up with consensus that way, then that would be another approach. So we're ready and prepared to do either approach that council wants to take.
So term just until May 31st, 2023, right? Okay. So until that time, we need to come back to interview again or something like that. Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, I'll propose to just submit our ballots and have it tallied and
So I just better give to the mayor.
That's right.
Okay.
So everybody would just put one
Mhm.
check mark or one name and then hand it to Marilyn and she'll tally it.
We have 2 votes for Isela 3 votes for Feng Li.
So yes, so if we can have somebody make a motion, please, to appoint Feng Li.
I'll move to approve Feng Li.
A second.
Okay, motion has been made by the Councilmember Menchaca, second by Councilmember Wu. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 4 yes and 1 no.
So next,
Mayor, may I propose we continue with Community Services Commission?
okay.
We do have only 2 applicants now that will be interviewing for that position.
Okay.
Amina has decided to withdraw her application.
Okay.
Hi. The next interview is with Christine Gallo, applicant for the Community Services Commission.
So try to find the right page, okay? So, Ms. Christine Guerrero, okay, thank you to willing to serve our community. And right now it's a council the question. Let's start with the council member Menchaca.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for being here. I wanted to start by asking whether you've either attended a community services meeting or if you've watched it on our YouTube channel.
I did. I watched one on the YouTube channel,
Okay.
I believe June 6th.
Okay. I don't know them by memory, so I can't tell you what took place.
Yes.
I do try to keep current, but not that good. So based on the meeting that you saw and based on the fact that I noticed here that you've done special events at Griffith Park.
Yes.
You've also done, let's see, there was another role that you played too that was very tied in with community services. Can you just share, based on what you viewed, your background, how it ties in with being a commissioner for this, being a community services commission?
Sure. So my current job is I work for the City of Los Angeles, Department of Recs and Park. Yes. So, so we generate permits for special events at the exterior part of Griffith Park and Elysian Park. So there's, it's a lot of fundraising events, a lot of community events. We have multiple community entities coming together. So we have like the City of Los Angeles, their departments, and they really try and get different departments together, like the sports to get together with the Friends of Griffith Park. So that all ties, I feel like for community service, community-based events.
Okay, so that's why you have an interest in
Yes.
applying to this commission in particular?
I do. So from working in the city, I've seen how community services really benefit cities. And since I've been a resident of San Gabriel my whole life. I've been here so I have a passion for this city, and I could see what community services will, enhance the city. So I've become interested.
Okay, great, thank you.
Next one, it's Councilmember Wu.
Hi, Christine.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming. And yes, so you generate permits for special events at Griffith Park. So that is really related to the position that you're applying for. But what is your experience and how you feel about your expertise can help our community service commissions can do a better job, for our community?
So,
Because you simply just said about the generated permits.
right. So to generate a permit, we have to coordinate with multiple departments within the city, like maintenance, and like the permittee. So we take all the aspects, and we create a safe event for the city and try and involve all the different departments.
So what is the RDAEF stand for?
Oh, so prior to working for the city of LA, I was a registered dental assistant for 27 years. And then the office closed. I worked for the hotel restaurant union office in LA, and they unfortunately had to close during the pandemic. And so I did that for 27 years. And so once that closed, I loved it. I loved dentistry. It was a passion. But then I thought, oh, this is my chance to venture out into the world. And I like community. I like, city. I love city work, being part of a city and communities.
I see. So how do you envision your role on the Community Service Commission?
Hopefully with some of my knowledge doing permits and working with different organizations, if people, want to have an event, I could hopefully bring my knowledge to that and, give my opinion on how maybe it could be played out, or ways to make it effective or run smooth, or just little ideas of how to make something.
And about the recreation and park programs, do you think anything that we should improve in our city?
I've never had that thought that something needs to be improved. I have 2 adult children that went through the school district here as well, and they were very active in the rec and parks, like after-school sports, and I was always very happy with, as long as it keeps going and we keep just maybe expanding what we have, or, making sure everybody could be involved, whoever wants to, that we get the message out that we have these programs to, new residents or families.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next one, it's Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kristen, for stepping up and volunteering. We really appreciate that.
I think our kids went to Washington together.
I recognize you.
I recognize the name.
The cat's out of the bag. Good to see you again.
Oh, nice to see you.
Thank you. We have a lot of programs. I'm sure you get used to be the Grapevine. We have new communications, but I'm sure you've with the kids doing after school, you've seen that. And we've already asked about improving, but I'd like to know what type of experience you've had at the live events, like some of the things we do, like Lunar New Year or 4th of July, or any other events we do. Like if you because that's within the, you know, the jurisdiction of the commission as well. So I don't know if you, what type of experience you had, and if you think we need more events, less events, or just change them up, or if you have any ideas about that.
The events that I've been, gone to, I have enjoyed every event so far. I think it's, when it comes to events, planning them, just keep in mind, like, just different, like all types of, I don't know how to say it, but like, just to reach out to everybody in I feel like our community is extremely diverse, which I love about the city. And just keep in mind all like the different types of activities or events we could have. I would have to research, into or brainstorm possibly different ones, or think of ones that we've had in the city, and maybe apply them here, see if it would work here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Chen.
Hello, Ms. Gallo. Thank you for coming out. Just on a side note, you're a dental assistant? My baby sister is a dentist, so I know.
It's a great profession.
She seems to enjoy it.
Oh.
But she tortures me a little, but okay.
Family's extra.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Pay in other ways. Just a question in terms of, okay, so I see that you work for Parks and Rec in City of LA, and the position you're applying for here is, well, it's what other cities call Parks and Rec, basically. And,
right.
and so, but of course, different cities have different needs, and, things that work in LA, are not necessarily the same here. What would you like to see here in terms of our Parks and Rec? And I mean, what kind of programs and things would you like to see more of or less of, or, just your ideas in terms of, and like Councilman Harrington said, you've been to a few events, but would you, I mean, being that you work in Parks and Rec, you've seen how other cities handle it, and are there certain things that LA does? Of course, it's not going to be the same because the scale and different kind of city, different demographics. But are there certain things that go on there that you would like to see here, or things that different kinds of programs that you think that you'd like to help our city bring to fruition?
Well, there's always, like, one thing that I do, I've been at the city for just over a year now, and it's like a whole new field to me, and it opened my eyes.
Right.
One thing I do like is that they come out and we have like a St. Jude event. There's all these different organizations that are bringing awareness to needs. Maybe we could have fundraisers, or like a type of a fundraiser, but like also bringing awareness to different organizations, that provide services, free of charge when you need it, like medically, that could be helpful, that maybe people don't know of. I learned so much about different, like, I want to call them organizations, but that I didn't know existed. So maybe we could bring those to the city, and it could bring like helpful information to our families and residents here.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. So I continue just asking, with the last maybe couple years, how many times do you have chance to attend our community service, the event?
I haven't been to a meeting.
I mean the event,
Event?
like the Vice Mayor already mentioned several one for you.
So one that I haven't attended yet that I plan on is the turkey trot.
Okay,
coming up. I think it's in November.
okay.
I
Right.
did.
Ah.
But I always was wondering, like, why haven't I gone to that one?
Okay.
I was just thinking,
did-
so that's on my to-do list.
Okay, your to-do list, but have experience? So which one event you attended? Maybe just use the last year one.
The last year, I haven't been very active in attending an event here. So,
My second question, just want to asking if you attended this event or actually recently we probably have we definitely have the Lunar New Year, the event, okay, the city hosting, and last year it's bigger event, it's dumpling in the beer. So
right, I didn't, that's on my birthday. I want to go to that one too.
It's a good birthday present.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Tell your friends.
birthday, you should be there.
See?
I
It's a good
know,
present.
Everybody can cheer with you.
I know. I see the advertisements. I drive under it like all the time on Las Tunas. I'm like, I need to go to that one.
Okay. So, yeah, why the question? Because this commissioner, so you should be, hopefully you have this kind of experience. My second question just asking, you think our city have too much more the community service event or too less? You need more event?
I don't think there's too much events.
You want
think
more, right?
We could have more. I mean, I would like to see more, if it's available.
Okay,
I think the community loves it. I think,
okay.
since I've lived here my whole life, I see more now than I did growing up.
Okay.
And it's exciting to see.
Okay.
I love the feel of it. I love seeing, I feel like it's going in such a great direction, the community
Okay.
and the
Okay.
events. Yes. Like
So-
I said, like seeing the dump, like I didn't see that before growing up. I didn't see that.
Because I saw you living in our city is a long time.
Long
So
time.
that's why I'm asking you. So what kind of community service you think you want to add on? Because you want to love more event. So you think what kind of event you like it?
Well, I'm sure I would like the dumpling and that one.
You mean that the dumpling beer, you want every quarterly to do that? Or just once a year? Once a month?
Oh, yeah. Monthly.
I'd go for that. I'm down for that. Yep.
Mark, did you hear about it?
I second, even though she can't make a motion.
A variation of that. It could be, a
Okay.
different type of food, It could be a wine and, pair it
Okay.
up with something else. But
Good
the
idea.
pairing
Good
is,
ideas.
Okay, so don't forget it. February 4th have the Lunar New Year Festival. I hope you can get a position, but if no matter you get it, try attend
I
it
will.
this anyway.
I
Okay,
definitely
all right.
I will.
And you still have 1.5 minutes. I give to you the chance to still briefly say why you apply for this position. How do you encourage the 5 of you to vote for you?
So I did apply for this position after starting my job in the city of LA and seeing how their community comes together and how they all, like these different groups, really love their city. Well, this is mostly like Griffith Park. Within Griffith Park, it's like its own little city. And they have so many volunteers and communities that just come out, and I love to see that. I would love, and I see San Gabriel going in that direction, and I would love to be a part of it and bring my knowledge, what I've learned here, and see it grow. And one thing I did see on the video that I did watch, it was about a veteran wanting a memorial. I don't know how it went,
Thank you, mentioning that.
and that was pretty, moving when I saw that. And, how the community, like the residents came and was like, we love this city and we want, you know, oh, I got cut off.
Sorry, your time out.
I could talk once I get comfortable. I get nervous in the beginning,
Okay.
but once I get comfortable, I could
Okay.
talk.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you February 4th.
Yes, I see you February 4th. Next one.
The next interview is with Susan Sanchez, applicant for the Community Services Commission.
Okay. Hi, Susan Sanchez. Thank you to willingness to serve our community. And so right now it's a council question. And this one, Councilmember Wu first.
Thank you, Susan, for participating and applying for the commissioner's position. So it's very impressive resume that you have provided. I'm just curious that you said you have worked as a scientist for a company including Disney and Levi Strauss for the past decades as a senior level executive. So does your working experience, how you can apply your working experience to your position?
Sure. So I've worked as a scientist in kind of supply chain decarbonization. So working to kind of green up operations. It doesn't really matter to me what widget it is, if it's a city park or if it's actually a pair of jeans, it's the same process. It's actually looking at all the components of what makes a supply chain or what makes a city very similarly and actually helping to make that better. Do you want me to elaborate on that? I wasn't sure how long I have to answer questions.
You total have the 15 minutes to answer our 5 council member question.
Thank you.
You can just make it short and sweet, no problem. But how do you envision your role on the Community Service Commission?
Yeah, so for me as a parent and also living here, I love the plans that I've looked through on the commission currently, that it's really about the people and the parks and the open spaces where we call home. I think there's a huge opportunity in the actual park system specifically to look at those as maybe some perimeter ideas that could integrate with planning. And by that, it's similar to the job that I did at the City of Los Angeles, where I was also an executive fellow that I was brought in to look at the street services for the largest road system in the country, and we started developing perimeter ideas with parks. How could we actually bring things to the park perimeter from the city planning and ideas of maybe roads and how those park interactions could happen? And for one example could be bicycle lanes, right? That could mean that there could be perimeters of the actual parks that integrate within bicycle lanes within the cities. Another example could be that there could be perhaps charging stations that could be using a parking lot within an actual recreation center, a site, or some sort of park site, that actual charging station for electric vehicles could be utilizing that particular space also. So I think those are just some ideas that I've been thinking of. And I also am just really passionate about the parks that you have here and use them all the time. And what I'd love to see is that we could actually have more community events in them. I mean, the most exciting thing about this city, I feel, are those summer night events and how those could also be inclusive. So that's the big second reason why I'm here and just want to volunteer my services, as inclusion is so important to me. As a mother of a special needs child in the San Gabriel School District, I would love to see how we can make those events more inclusive, maybe wheelchair accessible, or just inclusive in terms of neurodiversity. how we could make those really shine. And my last idea was I'd love to see some sort of variety show component where we don't just invite professional performers. We have our own San Gabriel residents perform in some way, like a variety show. So that's just kind of one idea I've always had. And that formulates out of Coolidge Elementary that held the best variety show ever for many, many years that some of you know, where my daughters performed before COVID for years.
So I believe that you know a lot about the park, but do you have any concern about the current park or recreation area policies, if you're aware of any?
Well, I looked at the new plan. I mean, I don't have any really concerns about them with the exception of I think swimming could be a lot more looked at in a way that we could make swimming hours more open and available, and maybe that would mean grant funding. I'm also a big advocate of going out for funding and finding those pockets of funding that maybe we could think of differently of how those pockets of funding could be used. One thing I didn't bring up is the guide and the actual courses that are offered that then use those parks and facilities. I think that I don't have an issue with that, but I would just like to see more inclusion also in the parks and facilities themselves in the classes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, the Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Susan, thank you for volunteering. It's always nice to have our residents volunteer. It makes the city run, really. We need a lot of help from our residents, so thank you.
Thanks.
So you've talked a bit about the programs and the parks. I always like to ask, how you've been involved with some of the events. Like we have a lot of live events. What's your favorite, or what maybe if you could think of some other events? Do we have too many? Not enough? I mean, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, again, a mom as a special needs child, events are tough if they're loud and they haven't been so inclusive. So one thing that I did actually for Coolidge events like the carnival was to make sensory-friendly tents. And so that was a really great idea, I thought, because then it meant that event was open to those kids that were having such a hard time with the sound, and we put cooling fans and made it not so bright in there. So I would love to be at these events more. We take advantage of the events in the summer, but I think maybe we could have some additional events and planning thought of for that space in the Mission parking lot, similar to the Vintage Fair, which was really exciting and I thought was a great community event to get out there. I think there just could be more opportunities for more events in other times of the year in general also.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And Councilmember Chen. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, for coming out. I want to know, what do you see as the biggest challenge to our community services, and how would you like to help improve our, I guess what we call Parks and Rec, but community services, the program overall?
I mean, I don't know if it's a challenge so much as an opportunity.
Okay.
But I think, the Parks and Rec program is so great. And how can we make sure that everybody is accessing it, But also, I think there's opportunity to improve some of the spaces. And what I saw in the plan is some of those developments, and I'd love to see some of those come to fruition. I think what Vincent Lugo Park's a great example where there's a whole program that's keeping up that equipment and making sure that it's upkept and it's used and it's looking really good. But how can we actually make that a bit better with perhaps some planting and some landscaping that could be updated to also accommodate what's going on with the hotter summers? And that was one area I thought of, and that I came from the city of LA, is where I worked, and I've sent letters to the city and emails about how we could actually incorporate some of these techniques into the Parks and Rec department. So for example, maybe there's roof space or parking lot space where we can cool down those environments with more planting or some strategic ways with cool paving, for example, which is known to decrease the ambient temperature by up to 10 degrees over the course of a day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Menchaca.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for being here, Susan.
Thank you.
I do know, well, first of all, I got to mention Coolidge. I was the chairperson 3 times for the Coolidge Variety Show. So it's legendary, so yes, indeed. You know, I do know you. I went to Frida Pickles quite a bit, and my view is that you are just so talented in so many ways. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, with your horticulture background, design review commission, those type of ideas with the planting would fit really well. The HERE Commission, you know, the HERE Commission, the whole purpose there is to be so much more inclusive, and the ideas that you have fit so well there. And then, of course, community services. We've talked about parks a lot. Clearly, you know a lot about parks, but it is much more than just parks, frankly. It doesn't include the planting part, the horticulture part, but it does include activities, events, and you clearly have quite a few ideas. But I wanted to just ask you, have you watched a community meeting yet, commission meeting, either by attending or through YouTube?
So online, I did look at some of the YouTube events, but I haven't in person. And I do know it's a lot more about planning actual events. And so I have done a lot of event planning myself, being on the Coolidge PTA. I did the whole carnival for 2 years, actually. So
I did it for 3, too.
Crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
want to do it a third. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I do need to educate myself more. And the reason I'm sitting here is because I want to volunteer. Use me where you feel fit. You know, and looking through it, I don't know much about commission positions. I'm super new to applying for something like this. So if it is, my services could be used better in the HERE Commission or the Planning Commission, so be it. I think I have a lot of experience from the city of Los Angeles, although my tenure was not very long, but I do think I could help there too. But this really excites me as a mom and wanting to get a lot more engaged in the community. As you know, we closed down our business, a brick and mortar business, a couple months ago, so we could focus more on family and really getting more engaged. And so that's where I'm like, I live here. I want to make it, you know, better, and I want to help. I want to serve. And I don't want to come at it from a place where, oh, all these things need to be done. I want to serve my community. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to apply the commissioner. And so you have the local business owner. Is it community as what kind of business you have? The
It's
local, you have
a floral business.
floral business.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Beautiful.
And we're now doing online and kind of pop-up events, but we don't
Okay.
have the space down the street currently.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. In our city, right?
in our city.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
right down
So
the road.
you are a resident, you have business. Okay. Similar to me.
Correct, yes, yes.
Yeah. And I want to asking still continue based on your last couple years, what kind of community service event you have impressed, you attended, you have some idea?
Yeah, I've attended a lot of them. The most recent, I would say, was probably the July 4th event that was put on. I thought that was done really well. I think it was really exciting to see parent and kid involvement in that event. I wish there were more people there. I know it's really hot, so I'm thinking in my mind that events could be at times when it was cooler, and how do you make those safe? Because sometimes night events can be tough. But what am I saying? The most recent event was, of course, the tree lighting ceremony, which you all were there, which was wonderful to see it back in action. And I just think that people like the traditions we have in this city. I think tradition's incredibly important. I think having that right there in front of the mission and having my daughter up there perform, and that was the first time they let a special needs kid in that choir perform. So it was a little bit pins and needles, but for Jefferson Middle School. So she sang, and I think that event was just so beautiful. And, you know, I think the pancake breakfast, you know, all the events to me, it just has that small town feel and very traditional. And I think people want to hold on to that. And that's what I'd love to help preserve too.
Okay. you think that this kind of event too much, or you want a more event?
More, of course. Families want more. We love it.
Okay.
We love
Very
it.
simple answer,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So because so you need so do you have like next question is, so do you have how much time you can prepare and to attend the meeting and the event?
Yeah, I mean, I work during the day, so I have a day job, which is kind of nice not having a business owner anymore. I've gone back to the corporate world. So I do have more time in the evenings and weekends. I wouldn't say it's a ton of time like everybody, but everybody's strapped for time, excuse me.
Okay.
I don't know how many hours off the top of my mind.
Okay.
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So you still have the 1 minute to give you a chance to, very simple, why you apply, how do you encourage 5 hours to vote for you?
Well, I think you should vote for me because I am a resident, and I'm really excited about making the city continue to shine. And those traditions are so important to my family. I mean, we would not miss a tradition like that, and even have put off other things to come back to the summer nights. And I would just love to serve where I live. And I think what I learned in my service at the City of Los Angeles is how important that civil service is. I didn't realize that being in the corporate world for so long. So I think I have a lot to offer, and I think I could learn. I'm not here to just know it all. I want to learn also. I don't think I have all the skills maybe that are needed, but I'm excited to try.
Okay, thank you. Just time off.
Oh.
You used your time. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's now time council deliberation discussion appointment to the Community Service Commission for an expired term and ending May 31st, 2023. Please select one appoint to the commission. Who would like to start it? So we just go ahead and vote, right? So the question, did you have they want to say something? Okay, so we go ahead and vote.
Christine Gallo received 2 votes, and Susan Sanchez received 3.
So Mayor, we would just need a motion, please, for somebody to select Susan Sanchez for the Community Services Commission.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion has been made by the Councilmember Menchaca and second by Vice Mayor Harrington. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
So, next item.
Mayor, the next item is interviews for the HERE Commission.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Ding, I have a parliamentary question.
Okay.
We have 3 applicants in 3 spots. Can we go off the resumes, or do we have to do an interview?
So, rest of the council member.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, is it a requirement?
Not a requirement, right? Okay, so maybe I suggest, up to the council, and maybe I suggestion just we read their the resume, and then give to you. I think I don't need like 15 minutes. So if we
I would,
yeah,
I would,
I don't need any minutes.
just,
I would,
just my suggestion. Okay, just let the applicant have the very simple introduction by themselves.
I would agree with that. Give the applicants a chance to say whatever they want to say, and then, but we don't have to go through the whole round.
So
That's
just
my,
3 minutes. Is it okay?
3 minutes works. I just want to make sure we clarify, because we did have some people come in after the statement. I think we made a statement earlier on that someone had pulled out. So we have 4 applications on the agenda, but 1 person pulled out, so we have now 3, and we only have 3 positions. So this is why we're discussing this. I just wanted to clarify that to the public.
right.
And I agree with you, Mayor, the 3 minutes, I think, makes sense.
It makes sense? Okay,
So
so
questions, we'll just have a,
we voted for this rule too? No? Okay, just agree, right? Okay, so,
It's just
Sorry,
got a
so
lot.
just for clarity on my part, that's for this position, this commissioner position, or were you discussing
Yes.
the previous?
correct this.
Okay.
yeah.
Great,
It's
thank you.
got a
That
lot
helps.
easier for you.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
That's the
Yeah.
here commission, because current, the 3 applicant and have the 3 vacancy.
Right.
So that's why the council make a decision. So just like we'll read all of you the resume, and give everybody still have your chance to express yourself 3 minutes.
That seems
Okay.
reasonable, yeah.
All right. Cassie Chavez Morris, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you to the willing to serve our community. Yeah, you can start right now.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you a little bit about my educational and professional background. I am currently employed with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. I work in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I have over 20 years of experience working in local, state, and, both city, state, and federal government. I have multiple years working with the City of Los Angeles for the Bureau of Sanitation and now Department of Water and Power. So my primary responsibilities with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion are developing initiatives that help to expand our ability for employees to feel both heard, valued, and seen, and also to bring more access and equity to public service. I have my undergraduate degree in geological science, and I have a master's in environmental studies. However, I also have a certificate in diversity, equity, and inclusion from Cornell University. And I have I'm presently, hopefully finishing soon, my certificate in public policy from Harvard with an emphasis on workplace diversity and equity in public service. Some of the initiatives that I'm working on with the Department of Water and Power right now include both workforce, workplace, and marketplace initiatives. Workforce initiatives being looking towards diversifying our workforce, looking at what we can do to improve policies and procedures for ensuring that we're hiring folks that are representative of the communities that we serve. On the workplace side, we're looking at developing employee resource groups and developing policies and practices that ensure that folks feel that their identity, they can come to work and bring their full identities to work, and that within their working groups, within our divisions, and within our organization, we are maintaining a culture that is both inclusive and allows folks to, have their self seen, heard, and valued, right? And then on the marketplace side, we're working on supplier diversity. We're also working on increasing more authentic engagement with our community-based organizations, and also looking at how we can make some of our programs more accessible to the public. We offer rebate programs. We also have programs that that are being evaluated to ensure that the work that we're doing in communities ensures that we're reinvesting into those communities and into communities and identity groups that may have been marginalized in the past or may not have been properly represented. And so that is a majority of the work that I do on the job. However, I am also a speaker. I speak at a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion conferences, including one in the next month. Is that my 3?
Yeah.
Dang it. It is hard when you're up here and you are talking. Now I know what it's like. Yes. Okay. Well, that's pretty much the gist of my work. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions?
Because we wait for your questions, so
Okay.
that's why I give it to you 3 minutes. Just express yourself.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That
impressive.
did go by fast.
So
Okay,
you
thank
are
you.
a good speech. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one.
The next applicant is Eric Chen.
Good evening,
Thank-
everybody.
Thank you, Eric Chen. Thank you to willing to service our community, and because the here commission right now we only have the 3 applicants, 3 vacancy. So we council make a decision. We read your resume, but still give you 3 minutes. Just introduce yourself. No additional question.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, you can start right now.
Anything, I'll just talk about, why I would like to join the HERE Commission. And as a longtime resident of the city, I'm very committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And even over there, amongst ourselves, we started talking about one of the ladies there, she's talking about hiring people with disabilities, how do we better include them in the classroom? And so it's very important to me that people on the margins, for whatever reason, whether it's economic or racial or gender, as we know, unfortunately, we live in a society where we find very stupid reasons to exclude or marginalize people for whatever artificial factors that don't really matter. That is a reality, but I would like to be a part of the solution. So that's why I want to be on the HERE Commission.
Thank you. So you are, because you agree, you are good, you are speech and a debate coach, so very short.
Keep
Good.
it concise, stick to the
Okay.
point.
All right. Okay, so, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah.
Mr. Chen,
Yes.
we do allow commissioners from outside of the city for this commission, but I just want to clarify, because you mentioned you live in the city, but your application says you're outside of the city.
Okay.
So do you live in the city proper or outside? And the reason I'm asking is because when we have future applications, we'll need to know whether we have room on the commission for non-residents or not.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just know that when I on my mail, it's 91776 San Gabriel. So I don't even. I couldn't. I did not like go online and look at everything. So.
Is your address higher than 4 digits?
Huh?
Does your address start with more than 4 digits?
No.
Then you're in San Gabriel.
5517. So I don't.
That's 4 digits.
4 digit.
That's outside of San Gabriel.
It's outside the city.
Which is okay. You're still eligible. I just want to know so for future.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry,
That's
yeah.
how you know if someone's in the city or not.
And here commissioner, we have the 7 commission. We only allow 2 non-resident commission.
Oh,
So
okay.
far, okay, because we have the one, it's not the resident, it's already, so we have 1 more position. So you still can, based on your resident, you still can qualify.
Okay.
But like our city manager, the Mark say, for the future, for us, we have to calculate if just in case someone else is from other city, it's have the conflict. It's not based on our rule. Okay. So yeah, so that's why I want to clarify. We want to clarify.
So am I a part of the? I'm sorry. Am I not in this? Am I not in a city? I'm not Temple City or San Gabriel or Rosemead or anything. I'm just in no man's land.
You're with the,
You're freelance.
It looks like you're with the county.
It's called county area. Yeah. it's-
Freelance, yeah, you're a
So
free agent.
It's a very simple way, just asking, for the last November, the election, did you have any chance voting for our rest of a council member?
Looking back, I was actually surprised. Yeah, that's when I went to vote. Before, I feel like I did, but then like for school board,
Not school board, I
different
talking
thing.
about a
Yeah.
council member.
okay, yeah, so that's why I got confused.
So did you have a chance to vote for
No,
them?
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
because that's
that's
what my whole
meaning
family
you-
were confused.
that's
Like, I thought
meaning-
we were part of the city. That's why we all got
Yeah,
confused
that's
when we
not
voted.
part of the city. That's meaning you're with the county too. Yeah,
But so why is it that for the school board, do you
the
know?
different district.
It's a different governmental entity.
Yeah.
Oh,
It-
okay.
It's not, yeah, it's totally
Yeah,
different. from the city.
even water board is different too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
I did not know.
Weird government stuff.
I just learned about this right now. So
Okay.
thank you
So
for educating
thank
me.
you to apply and another thing is you are lucky if someone is in the resident, maybe you have less chance. Okay, but it's good. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions or
Okay.
any other? You guys can feel free to enlighten me all night.
Okay. All right. So you can go back to listen to what's our result. Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Thank
go
you.
back to my civilian life.
Yeah. No.
Just go next door, because we're going to vote after the next
Yeah,
person.
yeah. You can go to next door.
You can actually just sit out there in the audience, too, if you like.
Oh, okay.
Because he already got in the interview. You can still sit on the audio. Yeah, if you want,
Okay.
if you like, listen like next one.
Okay, all right.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Diversity, we talked about
Yeah.
another male.
Okay.
Diversity. That's what the hearing commission's about, right?
Okay. I hear that. I hear that.
Oh, and you have a really cool name too. You know, let me just say you have a cool name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah. Just one character difference, right?
Some people have asked me, a number of people asked me, you're running for the city council? I said, no, that's
It-
not me.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and technically, the Chinese word is the exact same. In English, it's just different depending on
I think probably your
dialect.
Chinese last name is the same,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah. I thank you. Dr. Chesty, Junie, Lewis, thank you to continue to apply service the HERE Commission.
Thank you.
And because the rule little bit difference, okay, because the only 3 position, 3 applicant, so we council to make a decision. We don't asking you too much more question. Use the 15 minutes. Just give it to you 3 minutes. Introduce yourself. I think you already have experience. You can say, you can talk about what's your experience and why you continue on to service this commission.
Okay.
Thank you. 3 minutes. But you can use the
I
show.
am used to the 3-minute limit, so
Yeah,
from
you
our
can
public
use the 1
comments.
minute too, up to 3 minutes. Okay.
Up to 3 minutes. So, well, thank you for having me this evening. As you said, I'm Chastity Jennings Nunez. My day job is as a practicing obstetrician gynecologist, and I practiced at White Memorial in Los Angeles for over 20 years, but I'm currently at Glendale Adventist. I've lived here in San Gabriel for 17, 18 years. We moved here when my daughter started kindergarten at Coolidge, and we have been here ever since. My initial kind of participation in terms of community service was really through the schools as part of, room parent and PTA. And then I joined the San Gabriel Educational Foundation as a board member, and that's where I came in contact with many city council people, with people throughout the city. And I was on the board and then the president and part of that organization for 6 years. So after that, I guess, was a glutton for punishment and looking for more things to do. And so I have participated in a number of other organizations that are related more to my career. And so I am a member of the American College of OBGYN, and I am the section chair, which is Los Angeles' chair for that organization. I'm now a member of the Kiwanis and on their executive board, and through them have worked with their scholarship committee. And then about 3 years ago, when many people had their passions for advocacy kind of reignited because of the murder of George Floyd, the killing of a number of unarmed Black people, because of the inequities that were kind of highlighted by the COVID pandemic, just kind of the racism and just awfulness that was going on in the country in 2020, I became more interested in kind of advocacy here in our local city, and was able to be one of the primary community supporters for some type of equity organization here through the city. And Councilmember Menchaca and at the time Councilmember Pooh were also very interested in this area, and so I was able to work and collaborate with them, and the result of that is the HERE Commission, our Human Equity Access and Relations Commission. So I was one of the initial appointees for that commission, and I've been on it now for the 2 years that it has been that we have had the commission here in the city. And I think we've done really great work. So I personally feel like as a commission, we are one of the most active commissions, that our work plan has guided us to really,
Okay.
oh, shoot, that was 2 minutes, okay.
All
I
right.
wasn't watching the time, but all that to say, I really want to continue the work that I'm doing on the HERE Commission. I think we're doing good work, and just to throw it out there, I have spoken to the other 2 people who are applicants and would be incredibly excited to have them on the commission and to work with them. They have great ideas, and I think together, the members of the commission, you'll see great things come from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, okay, so because we don't have any question, because we just based on your resume, okay? So yeah, so please maybe, so still can stay here to hear you can see, watch our vote? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, but, okay. So, is there any, like, council deliberation? Okay, I still read this one, okay. This is now time for council deliberation and the discussion for appoint to the HERE Commission for full term expiring January 31st, 2025. Please select 3 to appoint to the commission. Who would like start it? If no comments, so just go ahead and make the motion.
None for me.
Okay. So any question? Okay, so any motion?
I'd like to make the motion, or Mr. Wu?
Okay, it's a motion has been made by Councilmember Wu and second by
I'll second
Councilmember Chen, right?
And the motion is to approve the 3 applicants, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to second. Thank you.
Okay, all right, so please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, so, okay, the next regular city council meeting will be held on the Tuesday, January 17, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. And tonight, the special meeting adjourned on the 7:53 p.m. Good. Thank you, and Happy New Year for everyone.
You too.
So